Hi, Mr. Walter here. Today we're going to talk about simple sentences with one subject and two verbs. This is going to be building on the previous simple sentences that we talked about, and those would have been sentences that have one subject, one verb, and also one verb and two subjects. So then today we're going to move on to one subject, two verbs. We're going to be using the PENS method as well as the slant strategy. So let's take a look at those. We're going to start with the slant strategy, because that's going to help you to know how to behave in class today. So the slant strategy involves sitting up, listening, asking and answering questions, nodding your head, and tracking the speaker. And those are all the things you're going to do while we're talking about things in class today. So let's go in here and we'll take a look at some of the things we've talked about. We're just going to do a quick review. Can you give me the definition of a verb?
Describes an action or state of or occurrence.
All right, perfect. Absolutely right. How about the definition of a subject?
It's the person or thing being discussed.
All right, wonderful. You are just on top of things today. Let's go ahead. We're going to talk about the PENS strategy. I know we've talked about that before, but I'm going to pull it up here on the screen so you can take a look at that. So we're going to be starting with picking a formula out of those three formulas that we have, the subject-verb, SV, or the subject-verb-verb, which is SVV, or a verb-subject-subject, which is VSS. And so then you'll pick your formula you're going to use, explore the words to fit the formula, you're going to note the words you're using, and then you're going to search and check those. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Bless you. So far, we've worked with two types of simple sentences. Can you tell me what those were?
Subject and verb, and then subject, verb.
Yep, perfect. You've got that. The third type of simple sentence has one subject and two verbs. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at those today. What might you guess is the formula for this type of sentence?
SVV.
Right on. Perfect. All right, the S stands for one subject, and the two V's stand for the two verbs. What do you suppose is a simple way of describing this type of simple sentence?
One person doing two things.
All right, you got it. Let's take a look here. We're going to write a simple sentence with one subject and two verbs. So what we're going to do first in that PENS strategy was, what was that first step again?
Pick a formula.
Yep, there you go. So what formula do you think we're going to want to pick to write our sentence with one subject and two verbs?
SVV.
Exactly. All right, let's take a look here. What is the next step that we have? It starts with an E.
Explore words to fit
right.
the formula.
Yep, there you go. Let's explore some words that would fit this formula. Can you tell me a subject and two verbs that go with that subject? Remember, the subject can be people, things, qualities, or ideas.
Ball would be a subject. And
okay.
Do bounced or rolled.
Yep, there you go.
Verbs.
All right, let's move on to that next step there with in the PENS strategy. It starts with an N.
Note the words.
Exactly. Right. It's time to write the sentence. So let's take a look at our sentence that we're going to use. We're going to write our sentence using ball, bounced, and rolled. So let's take a look at that next step there, starting with S. Do you remember what that one is?
Search and check.
Yep, there you go. Perfect. So we're going to search for the verbs and the subject to see if we can actually write the type of sentence we intend to write with those words. So let's take a look here and see what we've got. What is the first part of search and check?
Mark the imposters.
Right, we're going to find those imposters in there. What would you look for that's going to be the first thing to help you find an imposter?
Word two.
Yep, there you go. You've got it. All right, the word to, is that in our sentence? All right, let's take a look here at that sentence. And what was that sentence again that you had?
The ball bounced over the fence and rolled under the bushes.
There you go. And Excuse me, we were looking for the imposters. We're looking for the word to. Do you see that in your sentence there?
No, I don't.
All right. So to is not in there, so that means there's no infinitives and no prepositional phrases that start with the word to in this sentence. So, are there any prepositional phrases in there?
Under the bush and over the fence.
There you go. Let's go ahead and cross those out. And then what's the next thing we're going to do? We're going to
Ask the verb question.
There you go. Perfect. So, thinking about this sentence that you have there, is there an action or a linking verb? Is the or ball an action or a linking verb?
No.
Okay. Is bounced an action or a linking verb?
Yes.
All right, we'll go ahead and put a V over bounced. And is and an action or a linking verb?
No, but it gives me a clue to keep going.
All right, perfect. So anytime there is an and immediately following a verb, then that's going to be telling us that it might be an action verb there. So I'll write a V over that one. And we can go ahead and stop here because all that's left is the prepositional phrase. And I've already crossed that one out, so you'll notice that I kept going all the way to the end of the sentence there. So we're going to go on to the next step here, rooting out the subject. So now that I've found the verb, what do I need to do next?
Root the subject, ask who or what questions.
Yep, that's right. We're going to root out the subject and ask who or what questions. So who or what bounced or rolled in our sentence?
The ball.
Okay, the ball bounced and rolled. And does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, yep, that's right. A ball can bounce and it can roll. So we'll write an S above the ball because that's going to be our subject there. And now we can't quite stop here, so we got to keep going to see if there might be more than one subject in our sentence. So I don't see the word and right after ball. Do you see it there?
Nope.
Okay, so that's a clue that there probably is not another subject here. Are there any other words in this sentence that answer the question who or what bounced and rolled?
No.
All right, great. So this sentence is a complete sentence, and it fits our formula that we chose, the SVV. So it has one subject, which is ball, and then it's got the two verbs, bounced and rolled. So now we're going to key in on the beginning, ending, and the meaning. So is there anything else that we need to do to complete the search and check step?
Key in on all the parts of it. The sentence, the beginning, ending, and meaning.
Right. So we're going to key in on the beginning, ending, and meaning. So what if we check for those things? Think that's a good idea?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and check those things at the beginning, ending, and meaning.
Looks like it's missing a capital at the beginning.
Okay.
And add to it.
Perfect. Yep, we'll go ahead and add that here. So let's go ahead and we're going to try some practice. So if you look at your answer sheet there, let me go ahead and hold that up here on the screen so you can see that. And this is going to be 14A, the sheet there. So you see it's got some instructions, has a sample question or a sample sentence there, and then it's got 5 sentences there. So we're going to go ahead and work through one of them together here. So let's try using our search and check step on some of the sentences containing one subject and 2 verbs here. And remember, you need to do all 4 parts of the search and check step. So look at the first sentence on this learning sheet, and we're going to start with marking out the imposters on there. What's the first thing you need to do to search and check this sentence?
Pick a formula.
Nope, not picking a formula. We're looking at the search and check steps. What's the first thing you do there?
Look for the word to.
Right. Yep, we're going to look for the word to. So is that in the sentence? Yep, in the first sentence there.
No.
Okay, yep, so it's not there, so that means there's no infinitive in the sentence and no prepositional phrase beginning with the word to, right?
Right.
All right, perfect. So what's the next thing you need to do?
Look for the prepositional phrase.
Right, that's right. Is there a preposition in the sentence? And if so, what is it?
How about in?
Yep. Great. That's perfect. And how do we know that that's a preposition? We talked about prepositions
on
before.
the preposition sheet?
Yep, there you go. It's on our preposition sheet, so you can use that as kind of a little guide there to tell you which ones are the prepositions. So what's the whole prepositional phrase in that sentence, starting with in?
In the tree.
Okay, let's go ahead and mark that out. So go ahead and cross that off on your sheet there. And let's see, what do we need to do next?
We need to see if there's an action or linking verb.
Right, let's see if there's any action or linking verbs in our sentence. Do you see any action or linking verbs there?
Ate and swung.
Okay, swung and ate. Let's put a V above each of those so we know that those are the verbs on our sheet. Let's go ahead and write that on your sheet there. And then we're going to root out our subjects. So what question would you ask yourself next?
Who did the swinging and eating?
Right. So we're going to take a look and see who or what swung or ate. So if you look at your sentence, who or what swung or ate?
The monkey.
Right, perfect. So the monkey did that. So let's go ahead and write an S above the monkey because that's going to be our subject. And we can't quite stop yet because we need to see if there's any other subjects or anything else in there that we need to look at. So are there any other words in our sentence that answer the question, who or what swung or ate?
Nope.
Okay. And so since that is not in there, we know that we have a complete sentence. And let's go ahead and key in on the beginning, ending, and the meaning. Is there anything else we need to do to make sure this is a complete sentence?
We need to check punctuation at the end and then capital letters and whether it makes sense.
Right. All right, so let's see. If you take a look at that sentence, do you see anything on there at the beginning, ending, or the meaning that we need to make changes for?
Looks like we have a missing period.
Yep, we need to make sure we have the correct punctuation at the end of the sentence. Anything else in there?
Add to it.
Okay, and what are we going to add on there? The missing...
Period.
Right, we're going to add the missing punctuation on there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the rest of these sentences together. And then once we're done with those, then what you'll do is you'll move on to the lower half of the sheet there, 14B. And this is going to be a chance for you to practice these exercises yourself. So we're going to go through, do the same thing we did with our first sentence, give you a chance to practice. We'll all do it together, and then you'll get the chance to do those on your own. And then after you do that on your own, we'll have some more exercises that you can take home and make sure you understand this. And just make sure you let me know if you have any questions. Any questions about this before we move on?
Nope.
All right, great. We'll go ahead and get started here. All right, perfect. So now that we've got our sentences done together, I'm going to have you go ahead and do some on your own. And what I want you to do is I want you to think about that pen strategy that we talked about here. And we're going to make sure you go through there and look for all those sentences. You're going to identify our subjects, look for our verbs, mark out prepositional phrases, see if there's anything else in there. And you can go ahead and do this one on your own. And I'm going to be walking around the class just to make sure, see if anyone has any questions or if anyone's having any difficulties. And just let me know if you need help with anything. And then we'll go from there. So thank you very much, and let's get to work on this and see how things go.